Welcome to Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I have the CEO of Gainsight here, Mehta. How are you?
Hey, Jessica. Nice to meet you. Great to be here.
I'm so happy for you to be here. I mean, we were just at the SaaS event, and you were fantastic on stage.
Oh, thanks so much. Appreciate it. It was really fun.
For the audience, Gainsight has a platform for customer success, and you've been driving the whole industry around customer success. I love how you created, kind of pushed the category and also created so much content for the industry, not just about you, your company, but about the benefit of the entire customer success profession.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when actually it's interesting. I just had my 6-year anniversary with Gainsight. And so 6 years ago, when we started kind of evangelizing this concept, customer success, which if you don't know is kind of a new way to think about the business model in any kind of subscription business, where it's not just about getting new customers, but it's about making sure your existing customers are successful in terms of getting value from you so they stay with you and they grow over time. That concept, literally 6 years ago, nobody would have any idea what I'm talking about. Even today, some of you might not, right? But many people now know that that's a big driver in business. 6 years ago, people had no idea. And so if we were building software for customer success, we depended on making sure people knew customer success and that they actually invested in hiring what people call customer success managers. That's a job, CSM. CSM is actually the third most promising job according to LinkedIn in their study. It's one of the fastest growing jobs. And 6 years ago, there were literally like just a few hundred CSMs in the world. So if we're building software for them, we needed to make sure they multiplied quickly. And we worked hard on that. So we really focused on not marketing Gainsight, but instead evangelizing this concept of customer success and this job of CSM.
Right. So before that, maybe people were doing that job, but it was like account management.
They called it different things. That's
success,
right. Client services, account management.
Yeah.
They all kind of did parts of it. But I think the thing that's really changed is that in this subscription business model or SaaS or cloud, anything that's kind of a recurring relationship, that customer has so much power now because they can kind of come, they can go anytime they want.
Yeah.
And because of that power, now it's on the vendor, all of us, to make sure that that customer is getting the value they need. Right? In the old job, account management was kind of there to sell you more stuff, but it wasn't about making sure you get the value from what you bought. In the new world, customer success takes all the account management stuff, but it goes to the next level and says, how am I going to make sure you're getting the value you were looking for when you bought this product or service?
Right. So that role is really much a revenue-driven role in a way because the selling doesn't end. It's like perpetual selling.
That's exactly right. It's a great way to say it, which is in the old world, you'd kind of draw a funnel and you'd have your marketing, you have your sales, you get your customers, that's the end of the story, right? And in the new world, that's the beginning of the story. Perpetual selling, because at the end of the day, like you think about a customer that's on a month-to-month contract for a SaaS kind of business, or a customer, actually think about like how Amazon Web Services or Azure work, where you pay as you go. Like you turn on a computer, you pay, turn it off, you stop paying. And so in that model, there's no such thing as sales. It's actually all about customer success. All of the revenue comes from your customers using what they bought.
Okay. I know you have traditionally a solution that is out of the Salesforce relationship.
Right.
So tell us about the new solution that's launching this week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we've always been amazing partners with Salesforce. And Salesforce, as many of you know, is a tremendous platform for CRM and Salesforce automation. And some of our customers also have data in other systems, and other sometimes CRMs, for example, Microsoft or others. And Gainsight now has a platform, we call it Gainsight Next. They kind of work with all the different systems you've got. It'll continue to work really deeply with Salesforce, but now is able to connect to other CRMs and other systems as well.
Like Microsoft
Dynamics and others. And the goal is now I can have one system that's kind of this 360 view of my customers across all the different technologies I have with data about my customers.
The other thing that's very interesting about your solution is that you're able to do a lot of emailing to like notify.
That's right.
Be proactive. So I'm thinking, isn't that a marketing function?
It's interesting because in the old world, marketing and sales were really separate. And marketing was about automated emails and sales was about phone calls. In the new world, when you talk about that customer journey after they buy and making sure they get value, has to be a combination of everything. Sometimes you want somebody reaching out to them. That's a customer success manager. Sometimes it's a small customer, so you should automatically touch them. People would call that tech touch. The idea is, high touch account management and customer success with technology. That's tech touch. Very popular term.
Yes.
And so Gainsight will cover all of your customers. Your big ones, where you're going to be reaching out to them, and your small ones, where we're going to automatically touch them through tech touch.
Okay. I know you've been very successful on the enterprise side. You've got like Cisco, the large Adobe using your software and all that. So then that means that with this new launch of the solution, you're going to add on a sales team that's going to go after the smaller account, SMB accounts.
Well, we've always been able to serve kind of SMB to enterprise. So all those companies like Cisco and Adobe and others are well-known big brands. We've actually worked with companies all the way from the beginning. And some of our customers that work with us now, like for example, Box or Okta or others, when they started, they were very small companies.
Yes.
And so we actually have an ability to kind of start. Many companies now, when they start, they're thinking from the beginning, I need to do customer success. Because they're like, if I can engineer that into my business from day one, then I don't have to re-engineer it later on.
Right.
And so our customers span from literally a 25-person company up to a 100,000-person company and kind of everywhere in between.
Okay. Tell me about this new product you I guess added into from Intrinsic.
Yeah, so we did our first acquisition, which is exciting. Anytime you do your first acquisition, it's kind of a big movement for a company. And what we bought was a company called Intrinsic, and we now call that Gainsight PX, Gainsight Product Experience. And the idea basically is, if I'm trying to make sure my customers are getting to the outcomes they're looking for, they're adopting what they bought, meaning using the product, they're getting value. Part of that is having a CSM team that's kind of calling them and emailing them, which is great. But part of that, wouldn't it be great if some of that could be done in the product?
Okay. So
when the user logs into the product, they're automatically seeing what they haven't done yet, maybe getting guided to new features. It's tracking what they're doing. And so what Intrinsic does, what we call Gainsight PX, is tracks everything your customers are doing in your product automatically with no coding or engineering effort. So which features they're using, how often they're using them. And then we'll drive those users to use your product in more better ways. That means like guides to teach them about new features, guides for new users that have never used it before. And so now what we've done is almost build the customer success manager into the product, which is kind of a neat concept.
Okay, wow. Yeah. That's awesome. I think you also are now leveraging partners.
That's right. So, and this is a world well. If you think about building out kind of customer success, it's a new business process, right? And it's a business process alongside sales and marketing and finance. And anytime you start selling software that's about a business process, it's not just about the software. It's about all of the change management, all of the strategy, the process design, data integration, migration. And so we built a partner ecosystem that's going to help Gainsight and our customers make sure they get the value they're looking for.
Okay. I want to ask about leadership.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's so important to have a leader who really evangelizes certain cultural values and monitor that for improvement. And in particular, I want to ask about diversity, gender equality. What do you have in place in the company that helps you to monitor and make sure you're progressing towards the goals?
Well, it's a really good question. And by the way, it's an area where I think part of it has to be you have to understand the why behind it. And we've all for a long time had that for Gainsight. We're a very values-driven company. And we've got this kind of cultural statement that we call that we want to be a human-first business, the company that puts human beings ahead of just all the short-term business interests. So for a long time, we've always said if you're going to be human-first, diversity and inclusion is a really critical part of that. And we've always been passionate about it. We do unconscious bias training. We think about it in our management team. But one of the things we've learned actually is that just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean it just happens.
That's right.
So you actually it's interesting, one of our goals this year is systematize our diversity process. What that means is, just like with sales, we're not just passionate about sales, we actually have a sales process, right? And so in diversity, how do you make sure that you're not just passionate about it, but you have processes around how you recruit, how you create the right panels for interviews, how you try to remove the bias in the recruiting process, how you think about promotions internally, how you think about literally even who's in meetings. So are your meetings representative? And we do a conference every year, this conference called Pulse.
That's right.
We think a lot about, are those people that are speaking, are they representative of our audience? Every year we try to make it more representative. Same thing with our team. And by the way, I think we've done some things. We still a lot more we want to do. We have amazing women in our company, and we have a lot of men in our company, and that balance we always want to work on and continue to make it more fair on both sides. we do a lot of analytics now. So we're actually using some software that analyzes the composition of our workforce by lots of different dimensions, and also surveying our employees to say, how do you feel about diversity, inclusion, and Gainsight? So we can understand the baseline. But I would characterize where we are as we have the right vision and mission, and we have the right metrics now, and we still have a lot of work to do to get to where we want to be.
Okay, well that sounds wonderful. One of the companies that I admire is Intuit, and
they're
on
amazing.
their website they actually publish what are the industry benchmarks, and then compare it to themselves.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And I applaud Intuit, and I think it'd be great if all companies kind of try to figure that out.
I like that idea. Actually, we don't publish on our website now, but I think that's a great idea. It's something we'll go talk about. Yeah.
And how do you get your employees to embrace the values?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've always been very values driven from the beginning. So I think it's harder if you're a old company that's been around for a while and you say, okay, here's our new values. I think even then you can do it. It's just a lot more work. I think almost everyone at Gainsight was hired around this 5 values, which are golden rule, treat people the way you'd want to be treated. What we call success for all, which is the idea that we want a business where it's not just about the shareholders. We love our shareholders. If you're watching, we love you. But it's about our employees, our shareholders, our customers, our employees' families, and our community. Those 5 stakeholders. So that's what we call success for all. The third value is what we call childlike joy. You've seen some of this with our videos and things like that. So bring the kid in you to work every day. The fourth value is what we call shoshin, which is a word that means beginner's mind. So treating every situation like we can always learn more. I've been a CEO for a long time. I have so much more to learn. And then finally, what we call stay thirsty, the idea that we can always do more and that ambition kind of comes from within.
Right.
So those values have been like literally every employee knows them. Actually, you know what's interesting? Every one of our customers almost knows our values because we're very open. Just like Intuit, they put their diversity stats on the website, right? Our customers all know our values because we want them to hold us accountable to them.
Okay. How about some challenges that you've overcome, the journey you've gone, and how did you solve some of the challenges?
I don't know if I ever solved any of them. I think I have them every single day, and honestly, any CEO that's honest is like, it is every day it's challenging. Although on the flip side, I'm very fortunate to have the job I am, so I feel very grateful. But I think like one challenge that you deal with in a new market when you're creating something new is you can't just copy everyone else because there's nothing to copy, right? So even things like understanding how to market in this market or how to sell to people, you have to do a lot of experimentation. This is one challenge has been we haven't been able to take other people's playbooks. That's also fun. Because everything we've done, we've been like, it's been really painful, but we kind of made it up ourselves, right? Kind of like you're doing this video series, which is very innovative. So that's one challenge we've dealt with. The second challenge I think that we've really wrestled with is thinking about how to as you get a bigger and bigger team, how do you actually get the balance of positive motivation and performance orientation? I think that's something I'm a very positive person naturally, right? So I love like kind of rallying the troops and things like that's great. And then the question is, how do you balance that with, okay, when something doesn't go wrong, right? What do you say about that? And how do you kind of walk that line? I think that's something we constantly wrestle with. A third one, I think that our whole kind of business, I think a whole industry of tech wrestles with, and for us, we're excited about it, is kind of balancing like the business and the human side of things. And we really try to embrace both of those. Some companies are just like, their whole philosophy is, hey, it's just business, it doesn't matter, people don't matter, and so we personally have really wrestled with, okay, can we run this kind of human first business? We're really putting the people first, but that's really hard. It's hard when you're thinking about letting somebody go who's not performing well on the people side of that. It's hard when you're thinking about, individual people and somebody not getting the promotion. So balancing the human and the business is something I wrestle with a lot.
Okay. How about goals in the next 2 years?
Yeah.
What are the exciting initiatives that you're working on and working towards?
So we set our goals every year, February 1st. So we just did them. So I know exactly what they are. So one of the goals is I mentioned this kind of new platform for Gainsight called Next, right? And it's basically, the goal is about how do we up-level kind of customer success as a concept, make sure every CEO, every executive understands this is a way to bring everyone together around your customers. And so we have this new platform that can make that happen. So we want to elevate the concept of customer success. Number two, we think that customer success, like I mentioned, should be in the product as well. So we have this new product, Gainsight Product Experience. So connecting customer success and product together is a huge goal for us this year. Number 3, like I mentioned, we really want to systematize diversity in our company. And I think every company should be thinking about that. So it's a big goal for us. Number 4, we're going to build a profitable business. So we have all kinds of goals around, just like everyone does, around margins and profits. So we're just like everyone else. We have all the same goals. And then number 5, we're trying to continue to expand our ambition. We really want to build a platform. So we're continuing to look at new products that we want to get into, new acquisitions we want to do to expand the vision. So those are like the 5 things we're working on as a company.
Okay, well, those are all very big goals.
I know, we have a lot of work to do.
I'm sure you guys can do it.
I don't know, we'll see, but we're going to work really hard to get there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick, for being on the show. It's been a pleasure to talk with you.
Jessica, it's awesome being here. Thank you so much.
Come back again. You're welcome to come back anytime and share with us the exciting market that you're developing.
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Take it up with Jessica Lee, Nick Mehta, CEO of Gainsight.